Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A few days ago I found an article coming from the Ukrainian side stating that Russia is giving signs, I don't know what kind of signs, this kind of signs, I don't know exactly what kind of signs, to leave Zaporizhya Nuclear Power Plant. And they said, well, give signs, this gives signs. And that came from the, I don't know, Energoatom or whatever, the company in charge of the Zaporizhya Nuclear Power Plant staff, the Ukrainian ones. And then the same day, Peskov came out and said, no, we have no plan on doing that. It was about, I don't know, like 5 days ago, 4 days ago. And Peskov said, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, and then after that, I read another article like 2 days ago. Again, Russia might leave the Zaporizhya nuclear power plant. Again, what the hell? I let it go. Now, not now, yesterday I found this article where again they talk about Zaporizhya nuclear power plant and the Russians supposedly abandoning it. Well, personally, I don't think that's going to be happening unless they are blown up of Zaporizhya power plant. That's how they will leave. You know, like this is the Russian personnel around the Zaporizhya, you know, only like that the Russians will leave Zaporizhya power plant. They will not go like, no, never, I like that, you know, that's how they, blown up. So, this article is from Ukrainska Pravda from December 2nd, so yesterday, 2022. Russia ready to abandon Zaporizhya nuclear power plant in exchange for transit of oil and gas through Ukraine. Well, I was thinking, all right, but I know they have the Turks now. And oil, I think these guys are going to put an embargo. Another embargo, they're going to put a cap of $60 a barrel, which they already did, starting tomorrow. So, not tomorrow, I'm sorry, Monday. So, Russia said, well, if you put that cap on our oil, we're not going to deliver anymore oil to Europe. So I don't know. Anyway, let's see who says and what says here. Russia is ready to leave the territory of the occupied Zaporizhya nuclear power plant in exchange for uninterrupted transit of oil and gas through Ukraine. Isn't that strange that no gas and oil pump or whatever was blown up on the territory of Ukraine? And that's where the war is. Total war. Isn't that strange? I wonder why. Why is that? Latvia-based Russian media. So this is outlet Meduza. So Meduza is a Russian media based in Latvia, obviously yapping against Russia. Citing two sources close to the Kremlin that spoke on conditions of anonymity. I don't like that. And as a general rule. A source close to the Kremlin and an interlocutor close to the Russian government claims that the Russian Federation is ready to quit Zaporizhya nuclear power plant but does not plan to completely leave Zaporizhya Oblast. Meduza reported that the Kremlin plans to hand over the nuclear power plant either to the Ukrainian authorities or to the IAEA. Why? And I don't think they would give it to the Ukrainians. Maybe they give it to IAEA and IAEA will give it to the Ukrainians. Let's put it this way. As the sources state, in exchange for the withdrawal of troops from the nuclear power plant, the Russian authorities expect to receive guarantees of uninterrupted transit of oil and gas through the territory of Ukraine. Yeah, but if those guys can't buy your gas and oil, why do you want uninterrupted flow of what? Of nothing. Doesn't make sense. The interlocutors claim that both the Kremlin and the government, and I'm quoting, are ready for an agreement, and quote, since, and I'm quoting again, pumping and selling oil and gas is very important for the Russian budget. Now, I know that this cap of $60 per barrel is for oil. It's only for the seaborne oil. So the ones that these guys ship. So I don't think it's on the pipes, if they have oil pipes, whatever they have, or they have tankers. I don't know how they will distribute that. Doesn't apply for this kind of oil. So maybe it makes sense. But on the other hand, believe me, if the Ukrainians are stopping the flow of gas and oil to their country, who do you think will be the first ones to cry? The Europeans, as they did before. Remember when the payment did not go through and the Hungarians and the Czechs paid for Russia because they paid for the transit, and their money, supposedly the check or whatever, however the transaction bounced or something, went back, did not go through, and then the Czechs and the Hungarians pay for it only for the gas or whatever oil to be delivered. So Russia will not have a big problem with that. Okay, well, we lose some markets over there, we find them somewhere else. It's always a market for oil and gas. In a comment to Medusa, Dmitry Peskov, the press secretary of the President of the Russian Federation, rejected the possibility of such an agreement. But that was before the 2nd. The Russian occupiers seized control of the Zaporizhya Nuclear Power Plant at the start of the full-scale invasion. On 5th of October 2022, Vladimir Putin signed a decree on the alleged transition of the plant to Russian ownership. So that's a month ago, 2 months ago, and you think now what, they changed their mind? Why? Are they pushed by the Ukrainian army? I don't think so. Remember? Only like that. So on November 27th, Petro Kotin, president of the national nuclear energy company Energoatom, that's the guy, reported on air of the national joint 24/7 newscast that there are signs, that was the guy, that the occupiers may be getting ready to abandon the Zaporizhya nuclear power plant. So that was on November 27th. This article is from December 2nd, which is yesterday. Dmitry Peskov, press secretary of the President of the Russian Federation, has stated the withdrawal of Russian troops from the territory of the Zaporizhya nuclear power plant was out of the question. That was on the 27th. And these guys come in on the 2nd and tell me this? Now, who's lying? Close your eyes, pick the closest one, and he's lying. Or she's lying. They all lie. Reference. The southern branch of the Druzhba pipeline, which supplies Russian oil to Hungary, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Poland, passes through the territory of Ukraine. Herman Hulushchenko, Herman is not a Ukrainian, probably of German ancestry, Minister of Energy of Ukraine, reiterated that the reason for the stoppage of the what's going on here? Of the pipeline is Russian shelling. Earlier, Bloomberg reported that the transit of natural gas through Ukraine to Western Europe was at risk after Russia's attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Well, they say, again, they contradict themselves. They say, well, the Russians have such a high precision rate when they hit, when they shell or blow up infrastructure, and they are so stupid when they try to hit the military, the Ukrainian military. I mean, these guys, obviously, they know that they, they target a certain kind of segment of the society, which is not very smart, but it's okay. They do that because those guys vote, and they will nullify your vote and mine, since we are the smart ones, right? Yeah, okay, let's move on. So, this is the situation here. That's talking about it. So, I sometimes say, there's no smoke without fire. Now, the fire is the fact that the Russians have the Zaporizhya nuclear power plant. Is there any signs that the Ukrainian might be able to push them out? I don't think so. That's the first one. Second one, I explained if the Russian flow of oil and gas is stopped by the Ukrainians on their territory, those guys, those four countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary will cry a little bit. Now, what if the Russians do not really have a reason, an interest to blow any pipes? What about the Ukrainians? What if they blow it and say, hey, the Russians did it? Then what? The Russians will say, okay, we're gonna send a few crews over there to repair it, and the Ukrainians say no, and there's gonna be a disaster, a environmental disaster. That's for sure. Climate change and bullshit, that can go away, but that's gonna be one. If all that oil goes, flows on the, I don't even want to think about it. But think, this war started in 24th of February, right? So right now we're in December, and nobody hit any pipes on the territory of Ukraine, accidentally or willingly. Is that strange? but then you got Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines. What a coincidence. I mean, really? We know who blew those up. We know that. We know why? Because we don't find out. They don't tell us the outcome of the investigation. That tells me that it's very, how can we say this? So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.